safety for us ran the offense as the quarterback. Unselfish is all get out, did an unbelievable job. And, we played the way we did because of the preparation that those guys gave us. And it's not just on one side, because it's unique too. On the other side, you don't get to go 1s on 1s and 2s on 2s like we normally do on a week, because it's so much different. So even we had to challenge those other guys, the look team on defense, to give the offense as much as they possibly could. And that's where I feel as good as anything coming out of week 2, and where the unselfishness is, and where these guys' mindsets are about what preparation looks like. Always nice to get back to home, playing in front of the home crowd. It's been a while, and so that was awesome. Student section, everything. So all in all, obviously a great day, and feels a lot better to win. So, you roll back into a Sunday with one mindset of rivalry week. And I've said it since the day I got here, and I'll say it today, and I say it every day in the meeting, and I'll end practice with it. Rivalry is about respect, and there's no greater respect that I've got for this rivalry than anything. And the team will understand that. The team will know that, and we will prepare that way. And to me, that's the key to what it is. There's a lot of guys on our team that probably don't know a whole lot about the rivalry. We talk about it in fall camp. We spend a little bit of time, making sure we go through it and talking about it, and it's in our book. But more than anything, that when they walked in the door here on Sunday, as we wrapped up Saturday's game, that the first and foremost, the most important thing that they understood was what rivalries are all about, and what this rivalry means to us and our program. And we pay a lot of respect to that, and not just the way we play, but the way we prepare and the way we go about this entire week. He's always, I don't know why we didn't just start there. I don't.
Good to see you today, Coach. Have you let them know that this is for the series lead?
59-7, yeah. Yes, it's believe me, they know, they knew that as when we went over it in camp, that we haven't held the lead since 1915, and that it is 59-7 all time. And like I said, there's a lot of guys that we've got that are from different areas that don't know a lot about it. Our job is to make sure that we teach them about it from the get-go, but then most importantly, make sure that they respect what it is that they're a part of. And they definitely know that, and they definitely know that we haven't had a lead since 1915.
How much of an advantage is it that your road game is so much closer to campus than it is for Miami?
Well, I don't really look at it, the difference on who's in the road and who's. The only thing I know the difference is we weren't allowed to have our recruits there. We had reached out to ask, said that let's try to do as best we can to get as many people in the stadium as possible, and why don't you allow some of our recruits to have the opportunity to come. But I think we were denied on that, like we were denied the last time we played. So I don't quite understand why they have 2 back-to-back home games on the road that we're obviously playing in. I mean, don't mess this up. Paycor, before we played in Paul Brown Stadium, and it was their home game the last time. And again, we're playing in Paycor Stadium, but again, is their home game. Ours is in the next time we play, obviously, in the Bengals Stadium is our home game. I don't quite understand that. Maybe we could call the former AD and ask him how you sign that they get 2 home games on the neutral site, how they get the 2 home games. But they obviously did a little bit better job, I think, maybe in the contract negotiations. But I don't know that it's a bigger deal who wears what uniforms. Neither one of us are, truly, at our own stadium. But for me, more than anything, you want it to be an environment. You want to create an environment, whether it's their fans or our fans, that is exciting. And that's what that's what we want, is more than anything, as much as anything.
Coach, it is a great rivalry. It's withstood the test of time. So many changes in college football. You guys are going to go down to going to the Big 12 to 3 non-conference games. Do you see Miami, UC continuing on?
I'm a big traditionalist, and I love rivalries. I think that's what makes college football. I think that's the uniqueness of it, and there's all different kinds. And over time, things change, and programs move and grow and do things in different ways. But I think that for me, I would love to continue the traditions that still, are really important to me. And I think a few years ago, I was asked when they kind of went to the 1-1-1 where they were going to play at a neutral site. I was asked, hey, is there something you would ever think about getting out of it? I said, I don't know why we would. I mean, this is history. This is a big part of it. We're close in proximity, whatever the other things that people think you should do. I think the uniqueness of, making sure our young men understand about our program and the history of our program, it gives us a great avenue into doing that. It reminds me every year, based on what I'm doing about respect to the rivalry, to really kind of show and study a little bit more of the history and to give that to those guys. So if I got a choice that we would continue this rivalry as long as we possibly can.
One of your guys, Ivan Pace, knows that rivalry very well from having played over there. He'll play against some of his former teammates. How do you, as a coach, make sure that he doesn't get the best of his emotions and make sure he keeps those emotions in check?
Well, we've kind of gone through this in the past, obviously last year with Michael Young. And so we've had a little bit of history of some of these guys going back to their former schools. And, it starts early in the week. And it's just making sure we sit down with guys and understand that, when you walk into this program, you're a part of this program. I told Zach and I told those guys, you're a UC Bearcat. So I know that there's places that you've been before, but you don't want to be referred to as a guy that came from someplace else. Ben Bryant is a UC Bearcat. Ivan Pace is UC Bearcat. We went through that with Jerome Ford last year, and all he wanted at some point in time was not to be considered an Alabama transfer guy. I'm a UC Bearcat. So don't put a whole lot of stock in those things, but I understand the emotions, that this is an emotional game in particular. And just like I did last year with Michael Young earlier in the week, talked to him about it. I'll do the same thing with Ivan and anybody else that, comes into some of those situations where, they've either been someplace or have got a different connection to those things.
We ask you about Ivan a lot, and obviously you guys liked what you saw in fall camp. Are you surprised at all at how well he's played early in the season?
No, I think I'm surprised maybe just in how well he's picked things up. His attention to detail that, he's had to really work at. And I think that's where, I think that he's done a really good job. And last week was a challenge just because, we play things a little bit different and we're very disciplined in how we play some of the triple option. And I think that it was a really, really good thing for him. And if you asked him, I'm sure at some point in time you'll be able to talk to him. But until maybe a few more weeks, we'll continue to try to hold him back. Zach doesn't allow him to come and speak a whole lot, just yet. So I'm trying to work for you, Chad, on some of that stuff. But I think the uniqueness of all of our guys are challenged, and no matter what, you got Lenny Taylor, who's in his fifth year, or Josh Wiley, who's in his fifth year, or some of these other guys. That was one of the things, even with some of our offensive linemen, that we've had to find new ways to challenge these guys, and I think that's what I've been impressed with Ivan, is his ability to be challenged. He's got some natural instincts, but you got to keep challenging these guys to grow. And that's where I think that, in the structure of things and how well he's done in the plays that he's made, it's been in the structure of how we've done them and how we've asked him to do them. And that's been impressive.
If you look around the country, there's a lot of teams that are struggling with finding one quarterback to win them games. How lucky are you? Everybody wants to talk Evan or Ben. How lucky are you to have both of those guys in your quarterback room?
Well, we knew we were lucky. I mean, the dynamics is the most difficult thing on those guys, not on us as coaches. I mean, we can compartmentalize, but you got a heart too, and you know what those things, those human emotions are really like. And, you don't always know exactly what you do have. And I think that's why it was really good, this past week that Evan went in, and I've said it over and over again, that he had the opportunity to go play, not handcuffed, to be able to kind of get out there and have his opportunity to, have the whole playbook at his hands. And, it makes him feel really good. I know it makes us feel really good. It gives us a lot of other options as we continue to move forward. And, the tough thing is always the human element and keeping those guys, engaged and really excited about what it is they're doing. And you got to rely upon their maturity and their ability to put the team first and understand that throughout this year, there's going to be some opportunities. We don't know when they are. We don't know how it's going to happen. But we're going to need both of them. And so we are very fortunate, but we're more fortunate to have the maturity in that room that has been able to handle it. I don't know that you can do it if you don't, because it's such a unique position that is talked about so often, that if you don't have that maturity and that true belief in the bigger picture, I don't know that you're going to have a hard time in football today at having two really good ones.
Felt like against Arkansas, maybe Deshaun struggled a little bit or didn't play up to his normal standard. How encouraging was it to see him get a big tackle for loss, field goal block early on Saturday?
No, yeah, and I think he would be the first one to tell you that as he come back in here on Sunday, the one of the number one things we asked you to do is humble yourself, and that wasn't just for him, that wasn't just for me, that was for everybody. And I think that the same thing going back to when you start to develop maturity wise, sometimes as a coach you don't even have to do some of the things. They see what they see, and so I think he did a really good job. I think, like you said, it's a unique, game plan when you're playing the triple option, but it's very disciplined and very specific. And I think that's where maybe in week one he may struggled a little bit with the specifics and the discipline, as you just want to make plays. And so it was really good to get back to some of the fundamentals and the basics. He played really, really well. He did a lot of really, really good things, and as long as a lot of instinctual things as well.
Penalties killed you through the first 2 weeks. You overcame them last week. How much will playing that clean ball that you want to see will be a part of your message going into this game?
It's hard to say they kill you. I mean, I think that they definitely put a dagger in the side, but it's all a part of it. We've got to do better with the pre-snap stuff. I think that even if you look at week one, just like last year, the numbers of yardage wasn't as killer because they're pre-snap penalties, but they just are those sores that just, if they don't get better, then at some point in time, you really got to ask yourself what you're doing. And last week, I think we had some of the some other ones that were a little bit bigger, like 15-yarders, but a lot of those are the aggressive ones. So I don't want to lose sight of saying we got to eliminate all penalties. Like I've told you in the past, we've got to eliminate the stupid ones, the ones that are pre-snap, the ones that, sometimes people don't think affect you. That, well, it's only 1st and 15, or, it's only 2nd and 12. No, those are the ones that just continue to nag at you. And that's where we got to do a better job. The roughing the punter. No, we never want to rough the punter, but you know what? We want to be aggressive, and we'll learn from that. The other 15-yarder on Wiley, I still don't understand what the penalty is, and I'll get some clarity on that. Just one of those ones that, that show up in the stat book and are really, really big penalties, that we weren't able to overcome in that drive. But all in all, we know that it has been an Achilles heel of ours that we have got to do a better job playing cleaner.
You mentioned Ivan earlier because of the proximity of these two schools and the history of Miami. When you're breaking down the tape afterward, and then with the transfer portal the way that it is, how closely are you just keeping tabs on what the other guys did to your scheme?
No. I mean, we don't watch other players per se. Obviously, you notice really good football players. But I think in today's day and age, for us and the way we go about things, we don't scour the transfer portal. We will throughout the year basically make a board to say, okay, what do we think if we're going to take anybody in that category? What are the positions that we would be looking for? And, then we would specifically kind of go back through our matrix to find those types of things. But we're not kind of watching and teams we play and try to take notes. No, that's not. We've always known about Ivan, don't get me wrong, from the time of watching him. I watched him play in the state championship game, his senior year. To obviously having his brother and knowing the family. But, those kinds of things are just, hey, when the season's said and done, you'll evaluate your team and try to find the right mix if you're going to kind of add something there. But we're still looking more at the high school guys. Yeah. There's no idea that you're watching some guys. Now, we'll have a recruiting meeting every week, and I'll say, okay, let's just make sure on our board, where's the spots where you think we could have that gap that we're going to need to fill something in there, and if it's at a certain position, then we'll just say, okay, then, we got to make sure at the end of the year that we're ready to start looking around to say, okay, what's that? What are those spots that we would be willing to, place somebody in one of those rooms?
Sorry to jump back to the rivalry, but certainly appreciate your respect for it. Do you think you have that deep respect for it and you're a traditionalist because you've played and coached in Ohio State, Michigan? Do you take some of the elements, the way you approach that game, toward this game?
There's no doubt. I'll say to the guys today that it doesn't matter where you're from. Okay, if you love and if you've studied or watched college football, everybody's had some rivalry. You've probably had some rivalry in high school. You don't have to know the history of this rivalry. You could walk in the door and not have a clue of what it was. J.Q. Hardaway is from Alabama. I'm sure he knows the Iron Bowl a lot more. I will make reference to not any other rivalry, but I'll make reference to rivalry in general and what makes them so special. And, so to me, that's where we want to be. I want to be able to teach. I want to be able to have these guys grow. First and foremost, it's about respect. And then as they are here longer, they'll know much more. Every freshman will hear 59, and 7. Haven't had the lead since 1915. That doesn't mean they understand or they know the history of Miami and us. But as their time through the years here, they'll know first and foremost, whatever rivalry, it's about respect, and then they'll know a lot more about it. So that's where I think the traditionalist in me wants that, because it helps me to teach and help grow our kids to understand sometimes the really significant things about college football in general.
Going back to the Kennesaw State game, how significant is it to have a lot of players, your 1As and 1Bs get in to get those live reps?
It is good. Those guys, they work so hard. I think it's good for us as coaches to say, okay, we've seen them in live action, but it's better for them, I think, just to really get out there and see that there's opportunities all the time. And you never know when your opportunity is going to be called upon. I look at some guys that, maybe didn't rep anything on the triple option, then all of a sudden have to go in the game, and everybody that goes in the game wants to play well. Well, I don't really know what I'm doing. They're not going to, that's not an excuse. Their parents aren't going to accept that as an excuse as they watch them, and their coaches aren't. So I think it votes well in the long run for guys to understand how they still need to pay attention to what it is we're doing and how we do it. But I think more than anything, it's just the attitude and, the human element of things within your program. Those guys never get an opportunity to go on the field. It adds up by the end of the year, and the more opportunities they have to go on the field, the better they feel about what it is that they're doing, and those things add up as well.
I know you elaborated heading into this week after Ryan Coe struggled versus Arkansas. How great was it to see him come back and hit 7 PAT attempts this week?
No, I think more than anything, it goes back to the confidence. When it wasn't just his PATs, it was kickoffs as well, and so him getting more into that groove, I think, is really a big thing. And, it's a growing process. I know that he did what he did at Delaware, and that there's obviously a difference here. And, I think that his confidence level and our confidence level in him is where you want to continue to grow. If you're going to play your best ball at the end of the year, it's going to have to continue to grow.
You were preaching a lot about how the defensive line play, and there was a lot of depth there. A lot of guys did really well. Jawan talked about it in the post game. How far is that matchup against Kennesaw State for the defensive line from the expectation of what this should be every week?
Well, obviously it's different, but I think that what you learn and what you recognize from the Kennesaw stuff is the discipline that you need to play with. And where you obviously we'll play Navy later in the year with some more triple option, but I've tried to find the very positives in having and playing a triple option team. And I think the discipline that we want to play with really kind of is where it helps you in the long run. And we ask those guys to do things specifically, and each week you change up a little bit of what you ask those guys to do sometimes, how they're going to play blocks and how they're going to play their 5 technique or the different things. And I think it just goes along with the process of them understanding, wow, okay, when we do the things, really disciplined, look what happens. When we get out of our, comfort level and start doing things on our own, we can see what happened a little bit more last year. So all those things go a long way, but also just getting them on the field, to get the Ryan Mullaney's on the field, to get a lot of reps, makes us feel better about him playing, week in and week out. Noah Potter the same way. It was just guys that you didn't know as much about.
I know you talk a lot about living under a rock. Nice rock, I'm sure. How do you,
when I go home,
how do you catch up on a crazy day like Saturday to see all the kind of the chaos that happened around the sport?
Well, you know what? It's probably about the hour and a half that when you go home, that you may allow yourself to just go ahead and relax a little bit, watch a little bit of the game that's on, and see what things happen. But when I come in on Sunday, I really kind of rely upon a lot of other people. So, can you give me the lessons of the week that I saw maybe 2 games, or I saw highlights for 15 minutes, but what are the lessons of the week so that A, I can learn from them, but B, we can also use them with our team. And, so that's how, to me, I try to look to recap some of those things. I don't want to completely live under the rock because you can't learn. But I think that finding ways to, keep up with the world, but also to find ways to grow. And, I don't know that there was a ton of lessons this past week. I know that the Buffalo Holy Cross was the one we showed on Sunday to our guys on the last play of the game, obviously on a Hail Mary. But there's other lessons with, I would say preparations and the will to play and the want to play that maybe showed out in some of those upsets over the weekend that are all things that I need to be aware of and our team needs to be aware of.
We saw Coach Combs, first guy to meet Javon when he came off the field after his pick 6. What's it like, a couple games now, being back on the sideline and in midweek game prep with Coach Carey?
It's good. I try to say it all the time. I mean, the routines of what we do don't change a whole lot, obviously faces have changed, but for me as the head coach, you don't always have some of those guys that, you had a different relationship with. And for me to have some of that, that gives you some human elements to some things that you're not just kind of isolated and, being a head coach too often. I know for me, it goes a long way, and I appreciate that. Obviously I love the energy and the things like that, but, it's deeper than those kinds of things. And I think in the long run, it's not just good for me, it's good for all. Good. Thanks.
We'll have Arquan Bush and Ben Ryan here up in the set. Questions for Ben Bryant?
Ben, was there anything specific coming out of Arkansas, whether it was specific to Kennesaw State or just in general, that you were working on this past week?
I think just the overall chemistry with the offense. Obviously, there's a new group of people in there kind of working together, and I think we just worked on building that chemistry, and we're going to continue to do that.
You guys have won the Victory Bell 15 straight years. How important is it for you and the other leaders of this team to make sure you guys aren't the team that loses that trophy?
Yeah, I mean, we want to win every game, and a rivalry is obviously something that's really looked at as a big game for us. And like Coach Fick says all the time, we got to respect the rivalry and respect our opponent. And we're going to prepare really hard this week because we know we have a tough opponent, and they're going to be coming out swinging against us. And so we got to prepare and play our best.
Does it push you a little when you see Evan go out there and play like he did in his time in the second half, where you're like, all right, he's putting on. We gotta keep pushing each other even harder.
Yeah, I mean, Evan's done such a good job. He's gotten so much better, and I've been able to witness that. But I don't really like to compare myself to other people or look at it like that. I just worry about myself, and at the end of the day, I just want to win games, and that's the thing that's most important to me. So I'm not going to worry about any other people. But Evan's done a really good job, and I'm super proud of him, and he's going to continue to get better.
Do you think Brady deserves more credit for the handoff to Miles Montgomery?
Yeah, well, they wanted to get him on a QB draw. They said it was the rite of passage for the freshman quarterbacks to get hit a little bit, and I was pretty sad that didn't happen, but I think he was too. But it was nice to see him out there.
How do you think Gavin's played first 2 games, having to step in as starting center?
Gavin's played phenomenal. Everyone has so much confidence in him, and he has confidence in himself. And I think it really helped him playing center all throughout spring ball. And just he has such a good command of the O-line, and I'm really excited for him. And he's going to keep getting better. And yeah, he's done a really good job. Yeah, I think rotating around and getting in with different people always helps, and just to build that chemistry with whoever's in there.
You talk about respecting the rivalry, and generally you respect every opponent. So what is the difference then between your respect for playing Miami versus, there's no victory bell or rivalry on the line?
I mean, the Miami rivalry just goes back so many years, and I think it's just you got to look at the history and everything that's behind it, and it's just a really big rivalry, and we're going to go out and play our best ball, and we know that they're going to prepare for us well, and we have to prepare for them, and it's going to be a good game, and we're excited for the challenge.
As you continue to get more and more comfortable being back here, being in this offense, being back around your guys, what do you want to improve upon as you're continuing to get this thing going?
I want to continue my development as a leader, and I think that's really important at the quarterback position. Someone who can lead the team, lead the offense, and have that kind of one voice, kind of like what Des had, and he had that really strong, powerful role. And I want to kind of keep developing that role for myself. And I'm excited to continue to work on that and throughout the season. But yeah, I think the leadership thing would be the biggest thing for me.
With so many weapons, do you ever find yourself keeping track of where the ball has gone, and if there's someone else who maybe needs to get fed a little bit? Is that something you're thinking of at all?
Honestly, not. I mean, we have a group of unselfish people who just want to win, like I do, and we all just want to win. And whoever gets the ball, and if we're continuing drives and scoring touchdowns, no one really cares who's getting the ball or who has more yards or more touchdowns. I think at the end of the day, we just want to win.
You and Coach Fickell spoke about respecting the rivalry. How often, though, are you guys reminded that this is a rivalry week throughout the week in preparation, whatever that is?
Yeah, I think we're reminded every day. He really emphasizes that, and we don't take that lightly. So it's really important to respect the rivalry, like Coach Fick has preached to us, and we're really looking forward to that challenge this week.
Any other questions for Ben? All right, thanks, Ben. We'll do our Arquan Bush next.
Yep.
Questions for Arquan?
Is triple option games, are they boring, or are they tougher because you have to make sure you're not lulling to sleep out there?
I'll say a little bit of both, because you get lulled to sleep, they're going right over your head for a touchdown. So yeah, I would say both.
I'm trying to figure out a clever way to ask this question because we keep asking the same question, but you've never lost to Miami since you've been here. How important is it for you to make sure you don't know what that feels like before you leave here?
Super important. This rivalry been here for a long time. We are on a 15-game winning streak, 15 one of them game winning streak, and we don't want to lose that. We just want to keep the streak going. Just continue playing football and just respect the rivalry and just do what we're supposed to do.
How much has Coach told you about this is the opportunity for you guys to take the lead in the series?
I don't really think he said nothing about that. I knew we was tied. I knew we tied 59-59, but I don't remember him saying anything about that.
So you guys are coming off of a game where Kennesaw State ran that triple option. How key is it heading into a week like Miami to get back on track, focus on a more pass-heavy offense?
I would say it's big because, going against a triple option team is different than like a spread team, because it's more passing than it is like running. Like they just do a lot of triple option stuff to get you to lose your eyes. But I would say it's super important, like to just get back in that rhythm.
You have maybe a secret weapon on your defense in Ivan Pace that has a up close and personal relationship with those guys. How much will you lean on him and maybe just getting a feel of what they're going to bring to the table on Saturday?
I would say since week one, Ivan always been like a player you lean on. He's a good player. He make plays all the time. So I feel like just every week, Ivan's just like a great player. So I feel like we always lean on him like a little bit just to, because he make 15 tackles, 10 tackles a game. Like he's just a great player. So you'll lean on like your best players and stuff like that. Yeah, nothing special. Ivan's a go play his game and just play.
Outside of him playing his old team, how impressive is it to see a guy step in new to this defense and look like, one of the best players on the unit?
I would say definitely fun, like just to see that. Like you usually get people that leave from last year and then you get a transfer come in and step up in like that type of way. It's good to see.
How has it felt to you being back on the outside? I know you were an outside corner all along. You went to the nickel just kind of to do what was best for the team. Has it felt natural to be back outside?
Yeah, I would say it's natural. Corners, corner, nickel corner, slot corner, boundary corner. I feel like all the same. You do everything as you do at nickel, as field corner. You backpedal, break. You do everything. So I feel like it's natural.
Besides the quote that keeps coming around of respecting the rivalry, how is this week different in preparation emotionally?
Just because how long the rivalry been since back before I was born, before a lot of us maybe. So I would say you just got to respect the rivalry and just go and just play and just respect it. Like don't try to do nothing that's not you. Just play your game.
Is it extra hype this week though in practice?
No, we just prepare. Like we always prepare. We prepare every week, like championship week. So we always want to play our best game.
We talked to you in spring about Coach Combs, but now that you've gotten into the season, what have you learned from him as a coach, and then also just how has that relationship with him developed?
Coach Combs is a great guy. Our relationship developed a lot, like from when we spoke to now. I just feel like he's a person that I can still learn a lot more from. Teach me a lot about the game, and just show me like where I can like be better at, and just things of that nature.
We saw him. He was like the first guy when Javon had that pick six. I'm sure that wasn't surprising to you though to see him right out there.
No, he actually said that when he got the pick, his words was, he said Colerain. He said something about their high school. I said, whoa, like, y'all act like that high school just that.
I know you probably don't care where you play, just throw the ball down, we'll play wherever. But is there any added extra excitement for playing, at Paycor Stadium where the Bengals play? An NFL stadium?
I would say yeah, because it's an NFL stadium, and that's where a lot of people dream, just to play in the NFL. So I feel like you can get a little like hint of it, and like just playing in the stadium, not at that level. We're in college, we're college athletes, but trying to make it to the next level. So yeah.
How much did you get a chance yesterday or Sunday to kind of sit down and try to watch what all the guys were doing around the NFL?
You said Sunday, so that was I think I watched most of the game. I ain't get to catch a New York game though, because I fell asleep. I took a nap. What time they play? Hold on, yeah. Let me ask that for what time did New York play?
I think they played at 1.
Yeah, I was probably doing something else. I was here.
They threw at Sauce one time, or one completion for 8 yards.
I seen the one pass breakup he had on Twitter, the cover 3 when he broke up the pass with the tight end. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Dude still can run. I seen Defoe Lindenwood get the ending pick. Yeah, Defoe always been like that. Just come down and hit people. It really wasn't like nothing new. I knew he had it in him, and he just did it.